I call to order this Highland Park Board of Education hybrid workshop voting meeting. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of the public bodies in which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the Highland Park Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting, setting forth the time, date, and location to be submitted for publication to the Home News Tribune and Courier News, and posted on the board's website at least 48 hours in advance of this meeting. Members of the public who wish to address the board will be given the opportunity to do so before the board adjourns for the evening. Roll call.
Dr. Beatty, Ms. Cassell-Dunn, Dr. Coleman, Mr. Maldonado,
Here.
Dr. Pixley,
Here.
Ms. Preuss,
Here.
Dr. Schoolman, Ms. Stanio,
Here.
Ms. Vardman.
We are going to recess to executive session, or I make a motion that we recess to executive session. Be it resolved pursuant to the Sunshine Act, NJSA 10:4-12 and 13. The Highland Park Board of Education will now meet in closed session to discuss personnel matters, HIBs, and the superintendent's evaluation. These exemptions are permitted to be discussed in closed session in accordance with NJSA 10:4-13. Information regarding the board's closed session discussion will be disclosed to the public as soon as the need for confidentiality no longer exists. So do we, I guess, need to make a motion to recess?
Yes.
Make a motion to
Second.
recess? All in favor?
Aye.
Good, good. Okay, I'm going to call us back to order, reconvene to regular sessions. Can we have a roll call, please?
Dr. Beatty, Ms. Cassell-Dunn, Dr. Coleman,
Here.
Mr. Maldonado,
Here.
Dr. Pixley,
Here.
Ms. Preuss,
Here.
Dr. Schoolman,
Here.
Ms. Stanio, Ms. Vardman.
It is great to see all of you, by the way. We're going to do a couple of pieces of business that we have to do, and then we'll open it up and get to hear from all of you. So it's great to have a room full of people. We'll just start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We received three communications this month that are listed here on our agenda. And the next piece of business is approval of minutes. So I move that we approve the minutes of the hybrid workshop voting meeting and executive session from May 26th, 2026.
Dr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Maldonado,
Yes.
Dr. Pixley,
Yes.
Ms. Preuss,
Yes.
Dr. Schoolman, Ms. Stanio.
Yes.
Do we have our new student here?
I do not see our student representatives here, but I just want to give a welcome to our new student representatives next year, which will be Maya Cardone and Arden Lee. So we will swear them in at our September board meeting. So congratulations to our new student representatives.
Very grateful that they want to sit with us once a month for a lot of hours.
Yep, and I actually have their, so just to continue that, I do have a report from our current reps that are not able to be here tonight. So I'm going to read their student rep report. Okay, I will try to do them justice. So for Irving, they said June has been so exciting for the school. The first grade traveled to Bartle to meet the staff and get acclimated to the school. Afterwards, they had ice pops and Kona ice cream later that day. The kindergarten class gave an excellent presentation on the living garden on June 3rd and 4th. And the preschool end of year show was June 9th and 10th. The first grade show was June 11th and 12th. And we're so excited and proud that our first grade students will be moving up to Bartle next year. Over at Bartle, they said June was also a very exciting time of year. Miss Knapp visited Irving to read to her soon-to-be second graders. The Irving first graders visited Bartle for a tour and some ice pops. Fourth and fifth graders visited the high school science fair. Fifth graders enjoyed their time at the splash pad to celebrate the end of elementary school. And we celebrated our fifth graders at their moving up ceremony on Monday, June 15th, and we'll miss them as they move on to middle school. And Peaks and Valleys did a wonderful performance in celebration of Juneteenth. Over at the middle school, they also had a wonderful and exciting June. They had their 8th grade trip to Dorney Park on June 9th, and the 6th grade picnic and field day on June 10th, the 8th grade picnic at Donaldson Park on June 11th, and the 8th grade picnic and dance on June 12th. Sounds very exciting. We had the 8th grade award ceremony and 8th grade moving up ceremony, and they're thrilled to celebrate their 8th graders as they transition to high school. Congratulations to the parents, guardians, and 8th grade graduates. Everybody at the middle school is so proud of them. And last, the high school, in an exciting year. June may be the most exciting month, the high school reports. The high school has celebrated senior prom, senior trip, a choir open house, a band performance nostalgia, unveiling the magic behind rehearsal, and the orchestra concert. Thanks to the students, teachers, faculty, and family. And that concludes the student rep report.
Thank you for that. And then, but you're not off the hook. We're
I am
back to
not.
you. Now we start the superintendent's report and we get to recognize our retirees, teachers of the year, and service professionals. Dr. Suska.
Thank you. I'm going to go to the podium. They're much better. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. This is probably one of my most favorite board meetings, mostly because we have a great crowd, and that is awesome. But more importantly, because looking around the room to celebrate such amazing staff members and members of our community just really warms my heart. So I won't take much time other than saying I just really enjoyed this meeting, and thank you to everyone for coming out and supporting the school district. Before I get started on my official report for tonight, I actually wanted to celebrate a member of our school community who is with us tonight, actually celebrating her staff, Miss Brooke Baldazone, our assistant principal at Bartle Elementary School. One of the things, if you've been watching the board meetings for a little while, we've been having some issues collecting student lunch debt and accumulated a significant balance of debt owed to the school district. We had some seniors that were graduating that may not have gotten their diploma because of some negative student lunch debt. And we want all students to be able to eat and get a well-balanced meal. So Ms. Baldazone reached out to some donors, and I'd be remiss if I didn't publicly acknowledge and thank her for getting a check from Hungry Minds to be able to support the seniors in their lunch debt for graduation. So Ms. Baldazone, thank you so much. So tonight I'm going to ask each administrator to come on up and for us to acknowledge and celebrate our retirees, our teachers of the year, and educational service professionals of the year. So the first up, I'd like our director of facilities, Mr. John Flanagan.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education, administrators, colleagues, friends, and family. Tonight we celebrate the retirement of a truly special member of our district family, Wilfredo Ramon, better known to all of us as Willie. For 18 years, Willie faithfully served the district, beginning as a contractor and earning his place as a full-time general maintenance worker. But to many of us, he was much more than that. If something needed fixing, Willie was a person who got it done. A proud veteran of the United States Marines, Willie brought dedication, discipline, and selflessness to his work every day. He was always willing to help, greeted everyone with a smile, and offered kindness and wisdom to those around him. Willie leaves behind a legacy that will not be forgotten. He will be deeply missed, not only for the work he did, but for the person who he is. On behalf of the entire district, thank you, Willie, for your years of service and dedication. We wish you health, happiness, and many blessings in your retirement. Congratulations.
Thank you. Unfortunately, Willie wasn't able to be here tonight. Okay. Next, I'd like to call up our Executive Director for Student Services, Ms. Amy Coppola.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here tonight to celebrate and honor someone incredibly special. That person is Elaine Donnelly. For over 25 years, Elaine has been the heart of the Educational Services Department. During that time, she has seen many directors come and go, teachers rotate in and out, and child study team members join, learn, and move on. Through all of those changes, one thing always stayed the same: Elaine. Elaine is efficient, organized, and detailed-oriented in ways that truly set the standard. She noticed things that the rest of us missed and often fixed them before we even realized there was a problem. If something needed to be done the right way and on time, Elaine was the person you went to. And most of the time, she was already on it. She's an expert at creating purchase orders, crunching numbers, and meeting deadlines. Honestly, we're not sure how she managed to keep track of everything, but somehow she always did. And she did it with all patience, calm, and a level of professionalism that made even the busiest days feel manageable. But what truly sets Elaine apart is who she is as a person. She is kind, friendly, and always willing to help. She made people feel welcome, supported, and cared for. No matter how hectic things were behind the scenes, Elaine was a steady presence, someone we all relied on and trusted. Elaine is truly the backbone of our department. She is the glue that held things together, the quiet force that kept everything running smoothly. And while we joke about who will remind us of deadlines or magically know where every document lives, what we will miss most is Elaine herself, her warmth, her humor, and her unwavering dedication to the people she worked with every day. Elaine, your impact on this department and on Highland Park School District is immeasurable. Your legacy lives on in the systems you built, the standards you set, and the countless people you supported along the way. As you step into retirement, we hope your days are filled with rest, joy, laughter, and time to do all the things that you love. But fair warning, if retirement ever gets too quiet, we may be tempted to send you a purchase order just to see if you could fix it for us. Elaine, thank you so much for your dedication, your excellence, and your heart. You will be deeply missed, always appreciated, and forever part of our department. Congratulations, Elaine Donnelly.
So next, I am going to have the pleasure of speaking about a couple of members of our Irving faculty. Unfortunately, Dr. Robinson was not feeling very well and he's not able to join us tonight. Okay. So first, I'd like to talk about Miss Amanda Marrero. For those who don't know, teaching preschool requires a rare and powerful skill set, including patience, emotional intelligence, deep knowledge of child development, and the ability to nurture both learning and a child's sense of self. Amanda Marrero embodies all of this and more, and I'm proud to congratulate her on being named Irving's Teacher of the Year. As a preschool teacher at Irving, Ms. Marrero creates an environment where young learners feel safe, supported, confident enough to explore the world around them. She understands that before academic learning can happen, children must feel emotionally secure. She meets each child where they are developmentally, guiding them with intention, compassion, and consistency. Through thoughtfully designed play-based instruction, Amanda builds early academic foundations while strengthening independence, problem-solving, and social skills. Her classroom routines and learning centers are purposeful and developmentally appropriate, allowing children to take ownership of their learning while building confidence and self-regulation. Ms. Marrero is deeply dedicated to her students' social emotional growth. She connects with children, listens with care, and helps them learn to name their feelings, work through challenges, and build empathy for others. Her strong communication with families ensures that learning and emotional growth continue seamlessly between home and school. Beyond her classroom, Amanda is a leader in the Irving community. As a member of the staff climate committee and the green team, she supports her colleagues and instills compassion and environmental responsibility in her students. She is part of our Black History Month crew who develops, plans, and implements programming to honor famous Black Americans for their contributions and how we can spread kindness and love as a school during the month of February. Amanda Marrero's expertise, dedication, and heart make a lasting impact during one of the most critical stages of a child's development. For her exceptional commitment to our students and the Irving community, I wholeheartedly commend Amanda for being named Irving's Teacher of the Year. Congratulations. Come on up. Okay. All right, next, I am excited to celebrate an extraordinary individual who embodies the very essence and dedication, compassion, and excellence in education. I'd like you to join me in congratulating Ms. Katrina Dugan on being Irving's Educational Services Professional of the Year. Paraprofessionals are sometimes described as just paras, but Katrina's work reminds us how inaccurate that label truly is. She exemplifies the highest level of professionalism, compassion, and expertise within special education and beyond. Katrina brings an exceptional skill set to her role. She has a deep understanding of student needs, strong behavioral support strategies, and the ability to maintain calm, structured routines that help children feel safe and successful. She works collaboratively with teachers, specialists, and administrators, engaging in ongoing reflection and problem solving to support student growth academically, socially, and emotionally. She is flexible, open to change, and always willing to try new approaches in the pursuit of success. What sets her apart is her proactive mindset. She anticipates needs before being asked, steps in wherever support is needed, and does so with positivity and reliability. She supports students across the building, assists colleagues without hesitation, and upholds high expectations while maintaining warmth and joy. Her presence brings stability, trust, and consistency to our school community. Katrina's dedication extends well beyond her assigned duties. She gives generously of her time, resources, and energy to support students and families, ensuring that everyone feels included and cared for. She participates in school events, supports after-school responsibilities, and communicates thoughtfully to ensure smooth transitions and student safety. Equally important is the way Katrina supports adults. She is a trusted colleague who makes others feel seen, valued, and supported. Her professionalism, work ethic, and sense of humor strengthen our entire school culture. She is not just a paraprofessional. She is an educator, a teammate, and a role model. Her unwavering commitment to students and staff has a lasting impact on our school community. Congratulations, Katrina, on a well-deserved Irving's Educational Services Professional of the Year. And lastly, for Irving, I am excited to celebrate a very special retirement, Miss Liz Medine. So I'm excited to celebrate the remarkable career of Miss Medine, whose dedication to our school district has touched countless students, families, and colleagues since 2003. Over the years at both Irving and Bartle, Miss Medine has brought enthusiasm, creativity, warmth, and joy into every space she's entered. Walking in her classroom always felt very special. It was a place filled with the love of learning, encouragement, and belonging, where students felt safe, valued, and capable of success. Her ability to create meaningful learning experiences and connect with children made a lasting impact on generations of students. Beyond the classroom, Ms. Medine has been an active and valued member of many school committees and events. She's consistently looked for ways to contribute, collaborate, and strengthen our school community, whether helping to plan programs, support school initiatives, or bringing people together. She always did so with positivity, energy, and heart. One of Ms. Medine's greatest passions was her work with the Green Team. Her love for gardening, nature, and environmental stewardship inspires students and families alike. She brought excitement to the whole school meetings and encouraged our community to recycle, care for the earth, and understand the importance of giving back. Her passion was contagious, and because of her efforts, many students developed a deeper appreciation for the environment and their role in protecting it. Ms. Medine also played a meaningful role in helping to create a more inclusive and culturally responsive school community. Her outstanding Black History Month programming became a cherished tradition, thoughtfully engaging both students and staff in learning about history, culture, and the importance of representation and inclusion in the school community. Most importantly, Ms. Medine will be remembered for the joy she brought to others. She has been a supportive colleague, a caring educator, and a bright presence in our schools for more than 2 decades. Her dedication, creativity, and kindness have left an incredible legacy that will continue and be felt long after her retirement. Ms. Medine, thank you for your years of service, your passion for teaching, and your love you've poured into this community. We wish you endless happiness, relaxation, new adventures, and plenty of time enjoying the things you love most. Congratulations on your well-earned retirement. Next, I'd like to call up Principal of Bartle Elementary School, Miss Jennifer Knapp.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to start with my Teacher of the Year. It is an honor to recognize Dina as our Teacher of the Year. Dina consistently goes above and beyond for both her students and her colleagues. She is a true team player, always supportive, dependable, and willing to step in wherever she is needed. Having worked in multiple classrooms with different teachers, she brings positivity and collaboration to every setting and brings out the best in those around her. Dina is deeply committed to all learners. She ensures that every student feels seen, respected, and supported, meeting them where they are and providing thoughtful, differentiated instruction. Her classroom is a warm, inclusive space where students are engaged, focused, and happy, and where they truly feel they belong. Beyond the classroom, Dina has a tremendous impact on our school community. Through her leadership of the Sunshine Committee and her work organizing Book Bingo, she brings joy, connection, and a strong sense of community to both staff and families. Dina is also dedicated to growing professionally and supporting others, sharing her expertise and encouragement with colleagues. She leads with kindness, generosity, and heart, and she makes our school a better place every day. Please join me in congratulating our Teacher of the Year, Dina Olter. Now, I am delighted to honor Kayla as our Educational Services Professional of the Year. As the school nurse at Bartle, Kayla exemplifies what it truly means to be a compassionate, dedicated, and essential member of our educational community. Each and every day, she meets the diverse needs of our students with professionalism, empathy, and care, whether she is offering a warm greeting in the hallway, comforting a child in distress, or responding to medical needs with calm confidence. Her welcoming smile and steady presence provide reassurance not only to students, but to staff as well. Kayla's impact reaches far beyond the walls of the nurse's office. As a Highland Park resident and a parent of children in our district, she is deeply connected to the community she serves. The relationship she builds with students and families, both in and out of school, strengthen trust and foster a sense of unity that is felt throughout the building. Her dedication to our school is truly unmatched. Kayla consistently goes above and beyond her role, sending timely reminders to staff, stepping in to assist with translation during INRS meetings, and offering help whenever it is needed. She does all of this quietly and humbly, never seeking recognition, but always ensuring that others are supported. Kayla embodies the very spirit of this award. Her unwavering commitment, genuine care for others, and tireless work make her not only an exceptional nurse, but an indispensable member of our school community and a true role model. She is loved by our students, deeply respected by her colleagues, and incredibly deserving of this honor. Please join me in congratulating and celebrating Kayla, our Educational Services Professional of the Year. Now on to our retirees. First, I'll honor Jody McLean. Today, we gather to celebrate and honor someone who dedicated 13 remarkable years of service to the Highland Park School community. Over those years, she was so much more than a colleague. She was a supportive and collaborative teammate and someone we could always count on to put students first. Her care for students went far beyond lessons and routines. She truly knew her students and worked tirelessly to meet their individual needs, always leading with empathy, patience, and heart. One of the things I will miss most is walking into her classroom, whether it was seeing her become emotional while reading a powerful story aloud, or watching her jump right into a brain break to dance, fully engaged and having fun alongside her students. Those moments capture who she is as an educator, authentic, passionate, and deeply connected to the children she served. Her presence is still felt in our building, and she has truly been missed since her retirement this past fall. That speaks volumes about the impact she made, not just on students, but on colleagues and the entire school community. We are so grateful for the 13 years she gave Highland Park Schools and for the legacy she leaves behind. We will miss her deeply. We are thrilled that she now has the time to enjoy her well-deserved retirement. We hope it is filled with joy, relaxation, and all the things she loves most. Thank you for everything you have given to our students, our staff, and our school. Once a dolphin, always a dolphin. Congratulations and enjoy every moment of this next chapter. Our next retiree is Carol Dobowski, who I think is on virtually. I'm not sure if she is. She is, okay. Today, we celebrate an educator who dedicated 24 years to Highland Park Schools. I have had the privilege of knowing her throughout much of my own career, from when I was a student teacher in another district to teaching alongside her at Irving and eventually becoming her principal. For 24 years, she has dedicated herself to the students of Highland Park Schools. Throughout her career, she consistently held high expectations for every student who walked through her classroom door. She believed in their potential, challenged them to grow, and provided the support they needed to succeed. Because of her commitment and expertise, her students made tremendous academic gains year after year. What always stood out to me was her unwavering belief that all students could achieve at high levels. She never settled for less than their best, and in return, they rose to meet those expectations. Her classroom was a place where students were challenged and empowered to learn. She has made a lasting impact on countless students, colleagues, and families, and her contributions to our school community will not be forgotten. Thank you for your dedication, your passion, and your unwavering commitment to children. Congratulations on a well-earned retirement. May this next chapter be filled with joy, relaxation, new adventures, and all the happiness you deserve. We wish you nothing but the very best in the years ahead. Congratulations, Carol.
Thank you. I next like to call up our middle school principal, Miss Caitlin Brady.
Good evening. I could not be more honored to be here to celebrate Ms. Erin Washington for earning Teacher of the Year this year. Ms. Washington has worked at Highland Park Middle School for 22 years. Though quiet, she is a force. Ms. Wash can diffuse any situation with her calm, steady presence. She steps in anytime she's needed. No hesitation, no drama, no spotlight, just reliability at its finest. In the classroom, she is a beloved teacher. Ms. Wash gets to hear all of the middle school drama and helps advise and guide the students all day, every day. Students come to her in the morning before school, during lunch, and every period in between. And she is never bothered. She welcomes everyone, gives them space to decompress, and always makes time to listen. Ms. Washington's commitment doesn't stop at the classroom door. She is involved in every school activity. She is not always at the front, but is sure the doors are unlocked, the speakers are hooked up, the mic plugged in, and the music is playing. And as if that weren't enough, she coaches tennis. This year, she led the team to a championship win, which she accepted with her humble shrug, even though everyone knows she made it happen. For her entire career, Ms. Washington has been a dedicated educator. She has this quiet strength that steadies everyone around her. Ms. Wash is the person you rely on because she's proven over and over again that she never walks away when it matters most. She is an asset to the school, to the staff, to the students, and absolutely to me. Simply put, she's exceptional. And we're all better because she's here. Congratulations, Ms. Washington.
Thank you. And I'd like to next call up our high school principal, Dr. Christina Donovan.
Today, we are proud to recognize a truly extraordinary educator from our GLOW program. Miss Pollock is the kind of teacher who turns a classroom into a family and makes every student feel known, valued, and capable. Her kindness is constant, her expectations are high, and her belief in her students never wavers. In our GLOW program and classroom, she has created a space where students grow academically, socially, and emotionally, all while building the confidence they need to thrive beyond our walls. Her students are not on the sidelines of school life. They are at the center of it. Through her leadership, they're active in the community and in our school. GLOW students are the proud operators of our incredible coffee program, greeting staff with smiles, responsibility, and professionalism each day. It always brings a smile to my face when student I lets the entire school know of a specialty drink for a holiday, or student C checks in with me regarding the new cell phone policy and what I think about it. Miss Pollock has ensured our students have a voice and have learned to advocate for themselves. She extends her impact well beyond the school day. Whether organizing meaningful after-school opportunities or unforgettable experiences, like last year's Olivia Rodrigo concert that I attended, she is always finding ways to broaden her students' worlds and show them what is possible. As co-leader of DECA, she continues to open doors, mentoring students in leadership, entrepreneurship, and teamwork. She has guided students to success at both the district and national levels, creating opportunities for many who may never have had those chances. Her dedication, creativity, and heart, and what it means to serve students is always first. We are incredibly fortunate to have her in our school community, and today we thank her for the countless lives she lifts every single day. Congratulations, Hannah, on being recognized as our Teacher of the Year. Tonight, it is also my honor to recognize our Educational Service Professional of the Year, Julia Charbon. As our high school psychologist, Ms. Charbon serves in one of the most complex and demanding roles in high school education. Her work requires an extraordinary balance, having to navigate strict timelines, evaluations, meetings, and an incredible amount of detailed paperwork, all while never losing sight of the individual child at the center of it all. What makes Ms. Charbon exceptional is that she does not simply complete tasks. She builds trust, she listens deeply, she approaches every student and family with empathy, patience, and respect. In moments that can often feel overwhelming or emotional for students and our families, Ms. Charbon is a steady and reassuring presence. She understands that behind every evaluation is a young person with strengths, struggles, and most importantly, enormous potential. She advocates thoughtfully, collaborates with staff, and ensures that students receive the support they need to thrive in all aspects of their lives. The role of a school psychologist is not always visible, but its impact is profound. Ms. Charbon manages all of it with professionalism, compassion, and grace. She is always thinking of her students and what is best for them, and it comes through in every aspect of her approach. We are truly thankful for her dedication, her professional expertise, and above all, the compassion and love that she brings to her work every day. Please join me in congratulating Julia, our Educational Service Professional of the Year. Okay. And now on to our retirements. And I believe Ms. Puccio is here virtually, I think. If she is, okay, hello. I now have the honor of recognizing the retirement of someone who has left an extraordinary mark on our school, Ms. Puccio, our exceptional media specialist. When we think of the heart of the school, we often think about classrooms, hallways, and maybe athletic fields. But in many ways, the heartbeat of our building has been the media center. Ms. Puccio has consistently gone above and beyond in every sense of the word. When her title was media specialist, her impact stretched far beyond the walls of the media center. She has been an instructional partner, a technology leader, a mentor, an event planner, a club advisor, and a champion for students and staff. Ms. Puccio demonstrated deep knowledge of her field and a forward-thinking approach to innovation. She remained current in emerging technologies, continuously sought professional development at Rutgers to refine her skills, especially in the world of digital learning. She not only embraced new tools, but thoughtfully introduced them to our school. Her expertise with our Chromebook program ensured that technology enhanced learning rather than interrupted it. Under her leadership, our Media Center was, and still is, a vibrant, welcoming hub of creativity. Whether hosting special events, supporting our research projects or WISE, or simply offering a quiet space, Ms. Puccio created an atmosphere where students felt valued and inspired. Her contributions have been immeasurable. She supported clubs and activities where she helped students grow as leaders and professionals. She also coordinated special events that brought our school community together. What makes Ms. Puccio truly remarkable is not only what she has done, but how she did it, with patience, with humility, and with a student-first mindset. Her retirement marks the end of an era for our school. While we know the Media Center will continue and flourish, it will always carry her imprint in its systems, its culture, and its spirit. Ms. Puccio, on behalf of the entire school community, thank you. We wish you a retirement filled with joy, relaxation, and lots of travel adventures. I suspect you may be on right now. Congratulations, Ms. Puccio. You will be doing. And now I would like to honor Ms. Mazur. It is truly my honor to recognize someone who has had such an impact on our high school community, our incredible school nurse, Ms. Mazur, as she prepares for her retirement. When people think about a school nurse, they often think about bandages, ice packs, temperatures, and lots of paperwork. But anyone who has worked with Ms. Mazur knows that she is so much more than that. She has always been a steady presence, a calm voice, a trusted confidant, and in many ways, the heartbeat of our building as well. One of the memories shared by staff perfectly captures who she is. Someone wrote to me that she is the nurse for the whole building, staff and students alike. That could not be more true. Over the years, Ms. Mazur has cared for generations of students, but she has also taken care of every adult in the building. Whether someone walked into her office with a headache, stress, exhaustion, or just needed a moment to regroup, she always made time. Her office became a place where people felt safe, supported, and cared for. Another teacher compared her office to Lucy Van Pelt's stand from Peanuts. And honestly, that image feels incredibly fitting. Students and staff would line up outside her door, not just because they needed medical attention, but they needed Miss Mazur. They needed her humor, her honesty, her reassurance, and her ability to make things seem manageable. Unlike Lucy, though, Miss Mazur's advice was always compassionate, thoughtful, and exactly what people needed to hear. In high school, there are many moving parts and countless moments that happen behind the scenes. Ms. Mazur has quietly carried so many of those moments with professionalism. She has supported our students through difficult days, celebrated their successes, calmed anxious parents and staff, partnered with counselors and administrators, and just worked overall to ensure the health of the building. Retirement is such a well-earned next chapter, but there is no question Ms. Mazur leaves behind enormous shoes to fill. Your compassion, dedication, and care have shaped the culture of our building. On behalf of the entire school community, thank you, Ms. Mazur, for your years of service, your kindness, your humor, and mostly your heart. Thank you for taking care of all of us. Congratulations on your retirement. You certainly have earned it.
So that concludes our speeches. I just want to extend my sincerest appreciation for everyone who came to support our staff. Again, a tremendous, my heart is just tremendously filled with a lot of happiness, warmth, and love that I feel for everybody in this building. And I couldn't be more proud to honor all of our staff tonight. This is what we do every day. And if you just take a minute to think about what you heard in their speeches, and the big impact that they make on our school community is really profound. So please join me again in congratulating everybody. So now I'm going to take a pause in my superintendent's report. We have some light refreshments and water, and we know there's pictures. We have a beautiful step and repeat if you'd like to get a backdrop to get some photos. So please, we'll take about a 5-minute interlude for some photos. Congratulations, and then we'll continue on with the meeting. Thank you. And there up here. to our board meeting. I was gonna say you're all welcome to stay and. No, I know. I think they know my spiel now, so I just need Dr. Schoolman to come join us back when he's finished. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna go to the board to present the second part of my superintendent's report. So I would just probably ask kindly if maybe we can condense the group back here so I don't have my back to anybody and that y'all can see the screen. So I am excited tonight to share the product of our Dreams Team grant. So for those who don't know, and by the way, it says June 5th on there because that was the day of our presentation. So for those who don't know, we received a 3-year grant from Dreams, and I'll get to that in a second to reorient everybody. But the culmination of our first year in the grant was a showcase. So on June 5th, our team came and showcased our exciting things that we did as part of the grant. So DREAMS stands for Developing Resilience with Engaging Approaches to Maximize Success. And we were selected for the program, and it included guidance from community mentors who are certified trainers in the Nurtured Heart approach, and trainings and resources to implement the Nurtured Heart approach with trauma-informed, healing-centered, and restorative practices. So one of the things that we were doing really well and that we continue to do is this idea of responsive classroom, restorative practices, and trauma-informed instruction. But what we were finding was that there was sort of a missing piece to all of that. And it was a way of how adults interacted with students and spoke to them. So a lot of the work in responsive classroom and restorative practices and trauma-informed instruction really centers on the way students interact with each other. So for example, morning meeting and things like that. What Nurtured Heart did was essentially work with adults on how to communicate with students and how to fill their inner wealth. Nurtured Heart comes with 3 strands. So from my presentation about a year ago, the first strand is absolute no, which is neutralizing the negative. Positives can't register until a child experiences the child experiences they are no longer connected through negative adult regulation. So what we found through our work with Nurtured Heart is not to energize the negative. So if there is a situation, obviously safety and things like that is separate to this, but what we found is a lot of times our students want attention, a lot of attention-seeking behaviors. So when students are dysregulated, sometimes it becomes a situation of attention-seeking behavior. So the idea is you don't want to energize that negative behavior. You're trying to neutralize the behavior. At the same time, there's an absolute yes, which is energizing positive in meaningful ways. So there's always something going right. And how do you energize that and celebrate it? So instead of going to a student and maybe talking to them about what they're doing wrong, we want to flip the script and we're not energizing that negative behavior. Instead, we want to energize what's going right and fill inner wealth. So that's specific and intentional recognition through relationship building. And then absolute clarity for fair and consistent boundaries. We have to be intentional in the rules and expectations, and that comes with a reset. We have plenty of members. I'm not going to name them all, but you can see on the presentation, myself, administration, we had gen ed teachers, special ed teachers, we had our culture and climate specialists, we had our interventionists, school counselors, paraprofessionals, preschool teachers. So we opened it up to take volunteers that really wanted to get trained on it. So we all received copious training. In addition, Miss Gappa and Miss Paxton were our head trainers. So they did a train the trainer model because the idea is to sustain it. So to build our own capacity to be able to turnkey it to others. So Miss Paxton and Miss Gappa did a weeks-long, super intensive training to be trainers of the Nurtured Heart approach. So I'm just going to share some of the successes we had. There's a lot of slides, so I'll kind of go through things briefly, but some of the stuff hopefully you should have seen through our communications and the work we're doing. So at the middle school, so we did some wellness tips for staff as part of our Nurtured Heart Spotlight. So in middle school, there was self-care in the OWL newsletter, examples like pause and anchor technique, or mental reset phrases like stay calm. At the high school, the principal sent out Wednesday wellness tips, such as box breathing, 3 good things, micro walk, etc. So if you saw her emails, every Wednesday she sent out a wellness tip. They did Wellness Wednesdays. So they used, so the evidence was it's widely used in cognitive behavioral therapy and trauma-informed practices. So the idea for Wellness Wednesdays, here's an example, was 5 things you see, 4 things you feel, etc., to anchor in a reset and reduce anxiety. Another example from Wellness Wednesday, Name It to Tame It. Again, some ideas on naming emotions to reduce emotional intensity. So here are some examples, again, of what they did to spotlight in their newsletters and positive communicate. Sorry, let me go back. So some of the self-care spotlights that they did. So what they would do is name it and then try it out. So they name the strategy and then give them an approach to trying it out to re-engage and do a reset. Another thing for our secondary dreams team was they did work on positive communications to families. So really energizing that positive was a theme that you'll see throughout. The middle school, they did tiered messages home weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly. The middle school started an Instagram account. So we were excited to see that the middle school was highlighting some positive work coming out of that space. The high school, they had a PLC on shared communication, and they took specific time to send out positive communications to families. Oftentimes what we were finding is parents seem to like dread the call from the school when they see the school number because it's either the school nurse that your child is sick or there's a problem. And we wanted to change that culture because we really want to engage everybody in the community. So trying to be more proactive with more positive communication home was really important. So you can see those were kind of highlighted in our social media posts here from the middle school, ways that they celebrated the students and classroom spotlights. In addition, to help our staff, because we do know that their time is very important when they have preps and lunchtime, there's protected time, and also they're really busy and there's only so many hours in a day. So we drafted some templates for them to help them as well to give them some ideas so they didn't have to reinvent the wheel. So there was a whole Google Classroom on tips and tricks to positive communications of different variety. In addition, at the secondary level, they energize student behavior. So teaching students clear strategies to self-regulate and reset after challenging moments. So at the middle school, they organized time and space techniques for behavioral recognition. They did pride recognition for social behaviors, student of the marking period recognition, and then at the high school cafeteria, they have game room access. So really just trying to make more exciting spaces and ways to regulate for middle school. At the high school, they did a workshop for teachers on resets. Their Miss Paxton is turnkeying the work she did on the Greatness Project, which is actually training students on the Nurtured Heart approach and using that with the peer leader models as a way to help student-to-student interactions and incorporate student voice on setting norms, reflecting on process, and suggesting improvements. And I went to a couple of the student, she calls it parliament, to get some feedback and hear student voice in things happening around the high school. In addition, they did some active listening strategies, 8 weeks of community circles, which came from a student, visual reminders and cues. Students designed and illustrated the strategies themselves. So really trying to come up with ways to support active listening strategies. And you can see that on the wall in the pictures. They did school-wide resets on early dismissal days. So they piloted a change of their calendar during early dismissal days. So you can see there was a morning break at the high school. I know they did this and it worked really well. So instead of just going straight through without a break, they incorporated a little bit of a reset break, and that came with a lot of enthusiasm for the reset break. At the middle school, this was the Pride Initiative that they shared. Each student can be nominated for exhibiting an attribute from one of the traits from, I think it's perseverance, respect, integrity, discipline, and empathy. And on Fridays, 3 students are chosen and their nomination is read over the loudspeaker. Winning students receive an owl buck for the snack shack. And at the end of each grade level, the one with the most prizes, one with most nominations receives a prize. I took a role in this, so that was our secondary team and some of the initiatives they did around the Nurtured Heart approach. So I was also a team member and leader of the Nurtured Heart training. So I'm really happy about my training. And I took some of this positive work and put it at the central office level. So what I did was I celebrated greatness through communications. So hopefully you saw that in my weekly communications. Very often I celebrated either student accomplishment or staff accomplishment or program accomplishment, trying to name what the greatness was and how it supports the school community. So that was done through some examples of our social media posts. And I did it for students and staff. So you can see that the celebrating our outstanding HPPS staff. So you'll see 2 staff members each week that were celebrated. And again, like I said, you can see that shouting out students very specifically for their awards and some of our staff for that. And I will say when I did that, I received a lot of really positive feedback from the staff. I was so excited to see their pictures on social media, the celebration, and even the emails and say, hey, you noticed me, you know what I'm doing, and that's really great. At our elementary, so our elementary team was Bartle and Irving. At Bartle for the Dream, so they have their Dream members. And for the Absolute Yes Stand, their goal was to help staff understand and begin to implement Stand 2, so that Absolute Yes, energizing the positive. So they started training staff on Stand 2 and models of example Stand 2 throughout their building for both students and staff. So they did a part which was staff to staff positivity. So Bartle focused on relationship-centered wellness by creating opportunities for staff to connect socially, laugh together, and reduce stress in positive ways. So they had staff games and team building activities, friendly competitions and celebrations, spirit days, wellness surprises, and community building traditions. And you can see some of that on the picture here, like Vacation Ready Day, Bartle Blue, Jean Jacket Day, and things like that. They continue to bring wellness in the building as well. At Bartle, they partner with outside wellness providers to bring calming and restorative experiences directly to staff. They brought in a professional chair massage, wellness appreciation experiences, stress reduction opportunities, and recognition of staff mental health needs. They also focused on positive communications to families. So they used a variety of communication platforms and outreach methods to maintain strong partnerships. So they did some school-wide broadcasts through Genesis, teacher emails, phone calls, bilingual communication, positive messages, teacher newsletters, SEL-focused communications, and family engagement opportunities. In addition, they set an open door culture, which honestly they've always had, but made it a little bit more evident. The leadership team prioritized emotional safety and support for staff members. So both Ms. Knapp and Ms. Baldizone had an open door policy. Unless there was a very confidential meeting, if you walk by that office, you'll never see their doors closed. There was access to the counselor and nurse for personal support. I think you heard that through some of the speeches tonight about our school nurses and their value. Collaborative problem solving, and a culture rooted in empathy and communication. At Bartle, staff members are never expected to carry challenges alone. They also celebrated successes. They believe celebrating student growth and positive choices help strengthen both student confidence and overall school climate. Staff members regularly recognize students for kindness, leadership, perseverance, academic growth, responsibility, and positive behavior. And staff can shout out other staff as well. So you can see their awards and achievement that they gave out to students and staff to celebrate successes. And they, in terms of impact on school morale at Bartle, they recognize students create a ripple effect throughout the school community. And there was an increase in positive culture in the classroom. It encouraged student motivation and engagement, strengthened student and teacher relationships. It created moments of joy for our staff and students, promoted a supportive and encouraging environment, and reinforced the value of positive behavior and perseverance. In addition, for Stand 2 implementation, after actually only one training, feedback on Nurtured Heart was very positive. So I won't read the data, but we have a variety of staff that had different levels of understanding, but the data suggests that they were really excited to learn about it and felt a little bit more confident about it. And then looking ahead to next year, which I'll get to at the end of the presentation, but Bartle shared in our presentation with the Dreams community that they're going to continue training on Stand 2 and beyond. They're creating a tap out room for staff. So just a Zen calming place for staff if they just need a reset. That was some information that came out of the work that they did. and increasing Stand 2 visuals, sentence starters, and other supports for staff implementation. And to speak on that, I created posters with our Nurtured Heart trainer that were blown up. We have poster makers that make big posters for us that are going in our classrooms and offices as a way to remind us of the 3 stands and to use language to be able to make sure we're filling the inner wealth of students. Okay, we'll just we're going to jump to Irving. So for Irving, their team members for Irving. They also focused on Stand 2, which is energizing the positive. The staff intentionally look for aggressively praise minor successes, focusing on kindness, leadership, perseverance, and positive behavior choices to build colleague and student confidence. So they looked for those small moments to be able to fill inner wealth. The community to staff. So they gave parents and community members were invited to fill out shamrocks to let other staff members know that they are valued. So there was shamrocks of staff, lucky shamrocks of thanks, and you can see them around, they were posted around the building. They did bunnygrams. Parents and community members could make donations to support our wildlife habitat at Irving while celebrating staff members. So again, the community sort of acknowledging and sending positivity to our staff through our bunnygrams. Staff to staff. So our staff members are encouraged to shout out their colleagues for special qualities or positive contributions. So here are examples of ones for some of our staff that you're a person we all want to work with. It's people like you that make this an awesome place to work with, and very specific feedback. So the whole point of Nurtured Heart is not only to praise, but to do it with very specific recognition. Is really important. Not just, hey, you did a good job, but what is it that is that I'm celebrating here? And that's what you can see in the pictures provided. Staff members were also encouraged to shout out their colleagues for special qualities of positive contributions. During morning meeting announcements, staff members are often shouted out for their extraordinary contributions to the school community. So Ms. McNally posted or Ms. Gappa, I think, posted a Google form that staff could fill out. Ms. Gappa, who did the announcements, would read off and shout out the staff members. So staff to student, through professional development and exposure, staff members have been feeding emotionally nutritious words to our students in recognition of their positive qualities and contributions. So on that poster are those words, the nutritious words. The staff at Irving really love them. So here are some examples of those nutritious words that the students at Irving were learning as part of their vocabulary during the announcements. Kind, organized, cooperative, honest, patient, disciplined, generous, focused, respectful, responsible, brave are really good nutritious words. Each week, that nutritious word is highlighted, and staff and students are encouraged to recognize and demonstrate these qualities in themselves and others. So you can see in the picture that one week was eager to learn, the next week flexible, then generous, then helpful. For extra reinforcement and motivation, coloring pages connected to the weekly nutritious words were provided to students. This proved to be an extra way to connect with families regarding our weekly words as well. So sending home some creative ways to understand our nutritious words. Our staff members shouted out our preschool students who demonstrated kindness, fairness, and responsibility with their peers. They are recognized as a super friend, and they got to wear a cape. And our preschool students loved the cape. The students recognized the super friend, and again, celebrated for their greatness. Student to student was the last one for Irving, and they had the greatness jar. And students can recognize their peers for demonstrating the qualities of greatness. So students take pride in being acknowledged for their positive traits. So here was an opportunity for peer-to-peer, our students at Irving, to recognize each other for their greatness. And here's the greatness jar, some of our students with the greatness jar in the picture. They also focused on positive communication and participation. So at Irving, they did monthly family newsletters highlighting all the wonderful things that are going on at Irving. They translated messages through ThrillShare, monthly family events, mystery readers and birthdays, parent education workshops, coffee with the principal. I guess it was called the Dragon Chatter, early childhood learning, collaborative health and wellness programming, and transition programming and orientation, as well as welcoming events. So a lot of positive communication and parent engagement. Irving also offered the open door culture to ensure staff felt heard, supported, and comfortable collaborating. And then the Staff Vibe Tribe focused on wellness. So it was a committee that was formed to promote a positive staff climate through the school, including mental health and wellness. So they did monthly staff breakfasts, positive words of affirmation, staff takeout menus, grateful cards, holiday parties, and evening snacks during conferences. So we're really excited about this work. A lot of positive, energizing the positive was something that was really important to us. And celebrating. There's so much great things happening, and ways that we can celebrate that was important. So some of the things that we're really excited for next year. So next year will be year 2 of this. First of all is expanding. So like I said, we have our turnkey professional development providers. So they're going to turnkey that work. So at the secondary team of middle and high school, Ms. Paxton is going to train the high school executive board students, peer mediators, and student leaders from each grade level on the Greatness Project. So we're going to work with students on that. The Dreams team members will also like training on this as well. So we're actually going to do training for everybody on the Greatness Project. They're going to increase the positive communications to parents and guardians by using some time during PLC, department meetings, faculty meetings, and grade levels to be able to allocate 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there to be able to send those positive messages home. And then they're also going to turnkey the nurtured heart approach to more teachers by providing professional development opportunities. So we've already earmarked ways that we can do that within our schedule for next year. For the elementary team, Bartle's going to begin designing and using their staff tap out room that we spoke about. They're going to use BTV to share out nurtured heart approach traits, and that will be a theme within the grade levels and the whole school meetings. So one of the things that we did through our Dreams celebration on Zoom with other people that had the Dreams grant was hearing other people's ideas, which was really inspiring. And then just in our own buildings, across buildings. So they want to kind of mirror what Irving was doing and expand that. Bartle will continue training as well on the nurtured heart approach, and Irving will be introducing the nurtured heart approach for staff and continue using nutritious words, and students look for qualities as they can see in their peers. At central office, I'm going to create a Google Classroom to house all the resources and PD opportunities. Because this is an ongoing grant, there's even summer workshops, continuing workshops and training next year. So we all decided that would be really great to house it in one centralized location versus all the myriad of emails that go out. So all of the resources will be housed there. We're going to hold at least 3 Dreams team meetings, one in September, one mid-year, and one at end of year. We don't need them every month, so we were meeting every month for our training, our debriefs, and our goal setting. We have our goals for next year that include these, so now we just need to meet 3 times a year to kind of check in on things. We're going to continue creating a district culture that intentionally recognizes positive choices, effort, growth, and achievement, and increase staff understanding and implementation of nurtured heart strategies through professional development, coaching, and feedback. So one of the things we'll do for our instructional rounds is really focus on nurtured heart next year. In addition is celebrating that when we see it in action in our walkthroughs and when we go in and out of the classrooms and in our observations. So that concludes my presentation. I will open up to the board if they have any questions.
Hello. Okay. So with this going on, what does, let's say within a year or so, what does success look like when it's implemented? Like what would it look like in your mind when everything is all implemented? And then what metrics will be used to measure that success?
Right, great question. So what we're going to do is use our goals, and then what we're going to do in September is give specific goals around specific ways that we can make sure that we're doing those goals. Something simple like create a Google Classroom. We'll create it. We know it's created, and we have evidence of that. But some of the other things, including turnkeying and our professional development, we'll monitor that through our Professional Development Academy. And the staff that sign up to attend professional development, we do want to turnkey. Every time we provide professional development to our staff, we do a survey or a feedback form to collect information about that, so we can use that data that we collect from staff to inform future professional development. But honestly, success would really look like that all the staff are using the nurtured heart approach in their communication with each other and with students to build their inner wealth. So we're not just giving praise for praise sake, that the praise is very targeted, just like feedback, it's very targeted. What are you seeing that's going well? And why is that so important? So that I see that you're sitting very quietly, that shows me that you are doing this, and that means you are very good. Insert whatever the word is and what you want them. It seems like you are very focused. You're actively looking at me. You're writing notes down. It seems like you're really focused, and that makes for a great learner, right? Not just, hey, good job because you're quiet, right? We want to make sure we're celebrating that because when we have students that are in trauma or are dysregulated, they're not hearing that, right? And when they're dysregulated and they want our attention, if we're feeding it by telling them to stop doing that behavior, we're giving into that negativity. We're feeding the negativity. So what we want to do is there's always something going right. And how do we celebrate that? So really success would be that when I walk around, that's what I hear, that that's the norm, and that the students really pick up on that as well. And they support that in each other is the ultimate goal in 3 years.
Just a quick thought on that. I know we have our culture survey now that's longitudinal. It might be possible to zero in on some of those metrics to track that as well, to have like there's so much like the feel and the qualitative piece, but the quantitative piece, other way around. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say, that we might be able to use that as a way to kind of look at improvement. If there's
Yeah, absolutely. So last year was the first year of the NJ Sky, SCI, however you pronounce it, survey that was in collaboration with the Department of Education and Rutgers University. We implemented it. We did it one time as a go. This year we did it twice. So thank you to those who completed the survey. And then what we're going to do is look at that data. A lot of the work that early on came out between parents, guardians, students from grades 3 and up, and from staff was a lot of peer-to-peer. It seems like our culture is really high. There's a lot of great things happening, but there was a need kind of flagged in there was peer-to-peer interaction. In general, across all 3 buildings was still a little bit of an issue. So I'm hoping that number, that's why we really focused on the Greatness Project. Thank you. Good point to really maybe build students' inner wealth of each other so that their interactions with each other were more positive versus negative. Yeah.
Thank
Does
you.
Monique have a question? Okay, thank you. Oh, Monique?
Hi. Oh, hello. Hi. I had to unmute myself. Here I am on Zoom now. That happened. Thank you. This was an awesome presentation, Dr. Seska. I am so excited about just the emphasis on especially positive communication with parents and guardians, and just really prioritizing that is just so good to hear. And I'm thinking also about the targeted feedback that you just kind of highlighted again in terms of peer-to-peer interactions as well, but supporting all students with really specific targeted positive feedback, right? So it's meaningful and impactful. And my question, I think, is, and we can talk about this, I think, in even equity and excellence and perhaps, engage in other committees as well, but just how we integrate this work with a nurtured heart with our cultural responsive practices, our responsive classroom work, and our restorative practices, because I know you brought this into the district to really help support that work, fill gaps. So I think in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, how do we make sure that all of these approaches that should be supporting and supplementing each other are actually working together for, I think, enhancing the results in all fronts, right? Whether we're talking about peer-to-peer interaction, staff engagement and preparedness, discipline, and so forth. So I would love to be able to really have more discussions around that as well. And looking at the extent to which we may even start to see the data reflect the influence of the nurtured heart work that's being done in our, other areas.
Thank you. Niels? Oh.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that concludes my report.
And we move on to public comment. The Highland Park Board of Education welcomes public participation and has reserved this time for your comments. Board Policy 167 establishes and regulates the right of the public to participate in public meetings. Just a reminder of our process. People who are in the room get first opportunity to speak. Then you just give us your name and your address, unless you're a student, and then just your name. And just a reminder that if this is the public's opportunity to comment, we listen. Dr. Seska takes notes and responds where there are questions at a later time. But we are all listening. We're just not responding to comments so that we can listen and move on. And also encourage you to be brief. Although we want to hear what you have to say, we're not putting any time limits on, but obviously if you can be brief, that'll help us move on to our business. Okay, so anybody in the room that wants to speak, please just go up.
Good evening. My name is Andy Zappo. I'm a resident at 131 Johnson Street. First off, I think it would be remiss for me not to start my comment with congratulations to the folks who receive awards tonight and the retirees. Some of them I know through time in this district, and I just want to, give them my respect and appreciate their service as well. And that's really the main reason I came out this evening, is to make sure I took a time to make a public comment about a gentleman who's no longer going to be the baseball coach for the high school baseball team. And his name is Christopher Brzezowski. I'm going to call him Coach Chris through most of this conversation because it's just going to be easier that way. So my two older sons played as freshmen for Coach Chris when he was the assistant. And at that time, Coach Chris did something particularly meaningful to our family. There was a game where one of my sons played, and he made a bad play, and it resulted in 1 or 2 runs scoring. I don't recall how many. But the point was, he took it very hard, and the team ended up losing. And when I got there to pick him up, I had heard from a few other parents he was taking it very hard. And when I got there, that was in fact the case. He was in the dugout. He was not really moving. Some of his teammates were there with him. The main coach at that time had already left, but Coach Chris stayed with him the entire time until he was emotionally ready to get up and leave the game. And to me, that meant so much to me that he stood up in that moment for my son. And not just as a dad, but because that's the leadership example that I came to understand was required when I was a soldier. So it's just stuck with me. It stuck with my family, stuck with my wife, and it stuck with him and his friends who were present in the dugout that day. After that time, Coach Chris became a trusted person of my sons, and I have 3. 2 have no longer play for him. 1 just finished his first season. And it's really important that kids who are growing up have an adult who is a figure for them that is a trusted confidant, someone they can talk to and figure stuff out with, who isn't their dad or their mom. I had a scoutmaster when I was growing up. My kids have all had Coach Chris. And he took the coach job for the next 3 seasons. And at that time, we witnessed numerous players come and go on the team. Highland Park is not really known for being a huge club town. We don't really have unlike our soccer program, where there's a lot of kids who come through it and get into the high school program, baseball is not what we're known for. A lot of these are journeyman players, but the kids play and they do great and they grow over time. And for 3 years, the team thrived and they did really, really well. This past year was a rebuilding year. The senior class from last year, not the one that just graduated, the year before, I think was about 6 or 7 players. And most of them moved on. They were all starters, so there was some rebuilding to be done this year. But it was very evident to me that the team was growing better with time and would probably continue to do so, as long as those players come back. And I hope that they do. Our youngest son played this year, and he commented to us how much Coach Chris believes in him and how much he had really, really had ability. And he had grown to love the sport. And this was his first time playing the sport since 6th grade. He earned a starting position in left field as a freshman, and just under 2 weeks ago, he received his varsity letter. Coach Chris is a true coach. My speaking here is to make sure that his record of service is noted, and as a public thank you from our family and myself for his service to the team, the school, and to our children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. It was very gracious of you. I wasn't sure if there was a Zoom line. Oh, right down.
In-house first, but just put your name on there, please.
Gotcha.
Thank
All right,
you.
hang on, I'm working on it. I actually had just left because I have to catch a plane at 3:30 in the morning. And then somebody said they're starting public comment. So I said, okay, I'll come back just for a second. I'm here mainly just to speak to, I think, the board. Since you live in the community, I think that, I know you're all very hardworking, very thoughtful people. I know a lot of you individually. You're trying to do the right thing for your town, and we really appreciate your service because we know this isn't easy. The one thing though I did want to kind of note, and it kind of dovetails with the Coach Brzezowski thing, is that in the past year with our athletic department, we've seen two big personnel changes. Now the departure of Craig Gervin and the Brzezowski being dismissed. I don't know if they've named the person yet. Have they? Did I miss that part? The new baseball coach?
Yes, our scheduled B positions are on the agenda tonight.
Oh, okay. What's the name?
It's not intended to be a back and forth. I'm sorry. Just give us your comments.
Okay, I will with the assumption that the person's being hired that I think is being hired. I just want to say that as the board, these two big personnel changes, you're losing long-term Highland Park, well-known, respected figures. Craig Gervin. I mean, talk to any parent in this town whose kids went through his program, and they'll tell you how wonderful he was. And Coach Brzezowski, obviously I think is a great role model and a terrific man. And I just want to note that when you make big personnel changes like this and you watch them happen, it's not a stamp the form activity. This is something that you take very seriously because it's the members of your community. And when you take two people who, regardless of the circumstances of why they left, if they left on their own, if they didn't leave on their own, really, who knows at the end of the day, but you're making a big change and you're inviting two new people into the situation. And I think a new AD and a new baseball coach. And I think that you should understand that these are big changes. There's a lot of people who are watching what happens with these. The person who I think is going to be hired, he was very good to my child. I have no complaints about that. However, if it is the person, I think I could understand why other people may have some concerns. So I just want to note that, this isn't to stamp the form. It is about, we'll speak in the new verbiage of the athletic department, it's about accountability. If one kid gets hurt mentally, physically, or at an off-campus thing attended by coaches, we will be holding you to account. It's a zero tolerance policy as far as I'm concerned. Again, you're taking a risk. I hope it works out for everybody. I really do. I just want to kind of underscore the fact that these choices matter and people depart and new people come, and we put our faith in you to hand the right people to our children. I think I had one more thing. Oh, no, I just wanted to note that, like Highland Park, small town, big windows, people see. That's all. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good luck on your flight. Catching your flight. Is there anybody else in the room that wanted to speak? No. Okay. Do we have anybody online? How many people are online? Okay. Does anybody raise? If you're online, please raise your hand. And Angela will unmute you. What's that? Anne. Oh, Anne, come on.
Hi there. Thanks for taking my comment. My name is Ann Gowan. I live on South 2nd Avenue in Highland Park, and my kids graduated in 23 and 25. I also am calling in about Chris Brzezowski, or Coach B, as my kids called him. I'm really disappointed in the decision to remove him as coach at the high school, if in fact it wasn't his choice. As you've heard, baseball has historically not been a particularly glamorous job here in Highland Park because we're just not historically a baseball powerhouse. We don't have our own club teams here. People tend to go to Edison. So there are a lot of losses. What Chris did that was so wonderful was to really mentor these kids, a bunch of adolescent boys during a challenging time in their lives. Baseball season itself could be filled with challenges, typically involving quite a few losses. Chris had these kids not giving in to baseball despair, but playing as hard as they could every time, cheering for each other, even when a student achieved what some might consider a pretty minor goal, minor success. He stayed after games for periods of time that I assume went beyond his contract. I see him as absolutely critical to my own son's developing into a confident, empathetic leader. He was the co-captain of the team his last year. When I look at HP's Instagram page, I see a lot of language, which I fully approve of, about how it's not just the wins. On June 17th, the page says it's not just the titles, not the meetings. It's when a kid looks you in the eye after the last game of their career and says, thank you. That's it. That's the whole job right there. I agree. And that's how we felt about Chris. On June 17th, also, I think, talking to student athletes, you represented the nest in ways that went beyond the scoreboard, and that is something we will never forget. Again, that's how I felt about Chris. He contributed so much to the boys on that team. The wins were exciting, says the Instagram account, but the memories, relationships, and sense of community are what made this season great. Well, on June 3rd, while awards honor achievements, statistics, and accomplishments, they do not fully capture the character, resilience, leadership, and determination these seniors brought to our school community every day. I've had the privilege of watching them compete, overcome adversity, support their teammates, represent Highland Park with pride, and grow into remarkable young adults. That is what Chris was helping these kids do. We also heard a lot about supporting our staff in the presentation about nurturing heart right now. And frankly, it sounds wonderful. The decision to remove Chris, if that's what this was, does not reflect a respect for the relationships that he developed with students. If what really matters is a kid looking you in the eye and saying thank you, then Chris would still be the baseball coach. I hope the board and administration will reconsider the decision to remove him. Thank you for your consideration.
Is there anybody else online? Okay. Seeing no additional, what's that? Okay, but there's still one more public comment, so if we miss somebody, they could come back. We're going to move on to board committee reports, curriculum and instruction. Does that use? Okay,
That's
fair.
me. And
We're all covering for each other tonight.
All right. We met on June 11th, and it was Dan, myself, Ethan, Michelle Rodriguez, and Dr. Suska. I'll try not to go too much detail, keep it kind of high level, but give you all you need to know. So we spoke about a policy update. There's a lot in there. The NJSBA alerts kind of kicked us into high gear this past month. There was existing regulations that were recommended for abolishment because their content had been incorporated into other policies. And so we discussed kind of the rationale for these changes. Some of them are pretty standard. Some of them may be worth a little call out, just as we all look through these and internalize them. So there was policy 2200, minor revisions there to align with state requirements and curriculum standards. The former regulation addressed bias-free curriculum content, and it was incorporated into the updated policy language. And so it eliminated the need for that separate regulation. So trying to be more consistent here or concise here. Policy 2260, equity in school and classroom practices. It was updated to reflect the current state requirements as well. There was added language that emphasized that counseling services, career guidance, and instructional materials must be free from bias and stereotyping. So some positive language there. This was previously addressed in regulation, but it was consolidated into this policy. The policy 2411, career education and academic guidance counseling. Some of the terminology was updated just to be a little bit more in alignment with modern practices. Clarifying the role of academic planning, career exploration, post-secondary readiness, right? There's a lot of different kind of counselors, so they wanted to create that clarity. Let's see, regulation 2460 recommended for abolishment because it was incorporated elsewhere. Policy 5460, high school graduation. It revised updates aligning district policy with current state graduation requirements. Notable, I think we had a little bit of a discussion around this. Changes included expanding flexibility in how students may earn credits towards graduation, more through personalized learning opportunities. So that was an interesting addition that could have an impact on a positive impact on students graduating, giving them flexibility. Let's see. Yeah, just continual language, updating efforts to create multiple pathways that support successful graduation. Policy 5461, high school diplomas. New policy establishing requirements related to the issuance of high school diplomas. Let me just make sure I'm highlighting. Okay, so discussion focused on the provisions that may allow certain students to earn diplomas earlier when requirements have been met. This was quite a big difference, actually, allowing folks to graduate earlier potentially once those requirements have been met. And so that was a substantial change that we discussed. Of course, all in alignment with the new recommendations. Policy 5561, use of physical restraint and seclusion techniques for students with disabilities, updated to align with the current state requirements. Revisions to place greater emphasis on the de-escalation part of it, of those strategies. And that we had a nice discussion around that to make sure from our community too, that continues to appear in the right places within our policies and regulations. And then that led to a robust discussion, I think, on just restraint incidences and how we've seen a decline in those over the years and just a increased commitment to that. So that was the policy piece. So that was the one large portion of our conversation. The second one was around the subcommittee, SS subcommittee led by Ms. Rodriguez. And so we wanted to highlight a little bit of the good dialogue we've been having over there. It's a subcommittee that's met over the past year, maybe 3 or 4 times. The committee is with the charge of that, and I'm on that committee as well as some others. We meet to review federal funding, evaluate program effectiveness, ensure investments remain aligned with district priorities. I think it's really important as we go throughout the year, we can evaluate where those dollars might need to go to align with what our goals are. It allows for kind of a continual monitoring and strategic discussion around that. And so some of the highlights that should be noted, I think there's some good places where we had a lot of discussion over the past year on where Title I funding, places where that go related to continued investment in intervention-based programs, Common Lit, IXL, MAP. I won't name them all, but there's some really good investments going on there around Title I funding. Continued investment in the family engagement initiatives, including family learning nights and outreach efforts that have been quite successful. We had quite a bit of discussion around that. There's an expansion of mentoring, enrichment, and continued use of family liaisons. That's gone quite well across schools and families. And then there was a discussion around examples of successful implementation, included continual math intervention. So we want discussion on how we can think about those funds and continue to support that math adoption next year. For middle school, let me see, I want to seeing what's the most important thing to highlight here. Continues to receive additional funding as a comprehensive support and improvement school. The resources help to support academic interventions, student enrichment opportunities, climate and culture initiatives, family engagement efforts. So we see a lot of that extension of what's going on in the younger grades in middle school. Programs such as Read 180, Common Lit, MAP assessments were highlighted as key supports that really help in the middle school. Title II funding, so they support educator effectiveness through professional learning and instructional improvement efforts. There's a substantial investment there for district professional development, PD Academy, teacher leadership initiatives, literacy, mathematics training. We had a discussion around the importance of sustaining those professional learning pathways and thinking about the strategy for next year as well. Title III funding supports multilingual learners. A couple of notes there that we discussed were supplemental instruction for English language learners, family engagement opportunities through the Bilingual Parent Advisory Committee, programs and events designed to strengthen the connections there. Sorry, guys, I'm going through this. This is the exciting stuff. Right? All this funding is going, to our students in our community. So I, for one, am maybe a nerd, but loved this conversation. Title IV funding. So it supports the students' overall well-being and access to enrichment opportunities. So we talked about parent workshop series, social emotional learning and responsive classroom professional development, technology and AI related professional learning. It goes along with some of the dialogues we've had in the community. Some additional updates we discussed were related to field trips and approving the senior night chaperones and the approval for their summer walking trips. But overall, it was a robust discussion, I'd say, on policy. I think Marilyn will touch on it a little. I went through a bit of it. And then also how we're allocating SF funds and how we're thinking about continuing to do that in a strategic way next year. And again, I think having those multiple touch points and evaluating that is really what leads the success to that. And I want to commend Ms. Rodriguez for doing an amazing job on that.
Thank you. I actually had questions on those policies when I was reading them. Like, do we now have to, the graduation ones, what is it, 5460? There, a few of them were about, other ways to finish up your high school. Do we have to now create policies? Like, because it said at some point that you could, I was questioning, can they get credit? And so I sort of read may establish policies for credit. There were some things in there I was like kind of, the work-based learning, all that stuff. How does that apply?
So we do some of that now. We offer structured learning experiences and work-based learning through the course of studies. So students can take advantage of that right now. A lot of the pathway for our GLOW students, for example, do that. We've been toying around. I remember a couple of years ago, we tried to do a pathway to get the drone certification. So we tried a drone certification to replace, I believe it was a 2.5 credit science elective, like applied physics or something like that. So we've been dabbling a little bit in that work. This just gives, I guess, more flexibility. The reality is that a lot of schools in New Jersey, unfortunately, are facing a little bit of a crisis with graduation requirements. So they're really trying to think outside the box and give flexibility to school districts to offer other ways to graduation pathways.
Hello. I'm sorry. One thing I didn't call out was that it also extends the ability to graduate, I think, to a later age too. So it's flexibility in multiple directions.
Any other questions for curriculum? Okay, Monique, you on there for equity and excellence?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Equity and Excellence also met on June 11th, and we too had quite a lengthy discussion of the same exact action items around policy alerts that was just presented for curriculum instruction. So I'm not going to go over the overlap areas, but I do want to just hop down to, let's see, we had a discussion around the high school graduation updates. And just specifically a question or concern from the committee was around the FAFSA requirement now, and just ensuring that this does not place undue burden or restrictions on families who, for whatever reason, do not complete the FAFSA form. So Dr. Suska did confirm that we do have a waiver in place for this particular graduation requirement for parents or families who do not complete the form. And that's codified in our policy. Let's see, I think that was the only thing I wanted to add for that policy discussion. Let's see, under 5461, the high school diploma, the new policy, Dr. Suska did, and I'm not sure if you mentioned this, if I'm sorry if I'm being repetitive, but Dr. Suska did also mention that she would prepare a concise one-pager for the report that will be presented annually. So she does have to present it, or superintendents generally have to present a report annually, no later than September 30th, at a public meeting that includes, the data on our graduation, the total number of students who graduated, number who graduated via substitute competency test processes, the number who graduated via portfolio appeal processes, and so forth. And so this particular report, which will be due in September, will also be prepared as a one-pager. I think it's just really helpful to have those numbers and figures available in a digestible format. So we'll look forward to that in September. Under use of physical restraint and seclusion, we talked about went a little bit more in depth around some of the incidents over the school year that reflect Handle with Care and Nurturing Hearts and the likely impact that these programs have had on reducing restraint numbers. And again, just tying some, hopefully what we will see more of a correlation between the work being done with those approaches and reduction in restraints due to increased staff training and preparation. Dr. Suska sort of went over the process for using de-escalation first, verbal de-escalation first, and then restraint only if de-escalation fails and there is a imminent safety threat. We also talked about how the policy update codifies existing practices and clarifies that restraint is only for emergency purposes only. We would hope that this is obvious, but this is certainly also very clear in the policy, and de-escalation is emphasized and has to also be documented what efforts have been made around de-escalation. Also codified is, incidents must be reported within 48 hours. We discussed, which was good for us, I think, as a committee to get some understanding around kind of the graduated levels approach that Handle with Care takes when it comes to instances of discipline that could lead to restraint. And again, that's verbal de-escalation for minimal to mid level interactions, then full restraint with gradual release as a student regulates, again, around the perimeters already outlined. The staff involved in these instances will typically include self-contained classroom teachers, social workers, perhaps child study team members, related services staff who may or may not be present or may be called in to support staff in the classroom, administrators, and safety specialists. So we also just talked about the fact that the superintendent's regular HIB and violence vandalism presentation also covers just the definitions of restraint and seclusion for clarity. And so we're all understanding the difference between these two responses. Data is recorded also through SSDS and reported to the board twice a year. There's also in the new, added description of alternative means to de-escalation. So again, verbal techniques, positive behavior supports. This also includes meetings that could be in response to students who are showing increased dysregulated behavior, and supports that can be designed by an IEP team to support de-escalation for those students. We also requested as a committee, just out of our discussion, that instances of restraint and seclusion be added to discipline reports that are shared with the board. Dr. Suska agreed to do that, so we're looking forward to that now being added to our routine review of the discipline data. And I think that does it for policies. Moving right along, we had a positive update on the Comegno evaluation report of our special education program. The final report has been submitted or was submitted weeks ago, and Comegno will attend an either August or September board meeting, and we'll obviously present the report findings. There will be some action items. I know that Dr. Suska and her team are working on in collaboration with Comegno to help develop action items based on the report findings. So next steps will be presented by Dr. Suska and our new supervisor of special services, Ms. Raywood, at a subsequent board meeting. Based on preliminary reading of the findings, Dr. Suska did share that one of the recommendations includes a creation of a roadmap for parents and caregivers to help them navigate the evaluation and referral process. We know there's been a lot of concern and feedback from parents in the community around, just trying to navigate the very complex web that we have and in our special education system, and even just the identifying and receiving the referral process for our parents. So there's going to be, the plan would be, again, to just make that roadmap very clear for parents. And that includes also explaining sort of what to expect at each stage of the process, of the referral and evaluation process. So that was just sort of one example of a recommendation in the report. They're also ready to use templates included in the report so that the district can adapt rather than have to build from scratch templates that can be used to help with data management and implementing the recommendations. So we will look forward to that presentation very soon. And also, John Comegno will be providing a keynote during an in-service date in September with staff. So he will be there to share out with staff as well. We also went over, as usual, our ISS and OSS discipline chart and data, in this case for May. At Bartle, there were a total of 9 incidents involving 15 students. I think most of it was around perhaps some fights in the school. We're still seeing, fortunately, disproportionate representation among our Black and Hispanic students and our economically disadvantaged students as well. Good news is that we are also seeing a decrease in ISS and OSS as a result at Bartle. For example, the 9 incidents resulted in 1 ISS. At the middle school level, there were 30 total incidents involving 18 students. And these incidents resulted in 3 ISS and 3 OSS for fights. High school, 69 total incidents involving 39 students. Again, still seeing our disparities in terms of the racial demographics and economic demographics. But at the high school level, there was 1 ISS and 1 OSS. And so again, just across the board, seeing a decrease, continued decrease in a lower number of out-of-school suspensions. And across the board, we talked a little bit about just that spring fever feel in all the schools and how that can attribute to the uptick in incidents in the months of May and June. And I think that's it. I'm sorry, one more thing we did discuss, and that is at the middle school level, Dr. Suska shared some good news around support for our multi-language learners. And the work that Miss Wendy Yeager is doing is really yielding high results around family engagement. So currently, Wendy Yeager is working part-time, and that is unfortunately due to reduced federal funding. But Dr. Suska's recommendation is to consider making her position full-time in next year's budget, pending funds, just to kind of maintain this high level results that she's getting on the work that she's doing to engage our families of our multi-language learners, and the strong attendance that they're seeing at middle school events for families. And that's ending on a positive note, and that's all I have to report.
Thanks, Monique.
Any questions?
Okay, we're gonna, go ahead, Ethan.
The incident numbers for the middle school and the high school they seem quite high. I don't know. I didn't look at them before the meeting. Do we have comparisons to past May and June periods?
In the meeting, we didn't look at comparisons to past May and June periods, but we did discuss the uptick. And Christina, Dr. Suska, you may want to speak more to this specifically because my notes are not reflecting the extent to which we discussed what your thoughts were around the uptick, mostly at the high school, but certainly a little bit more at the middle school than the past few months. I know we talked about the spring fever effect and some other kind of mass incidents that may have attributed to the total incidents at the high school.
Yeah, I don't have the comparison of where we were last year, but usually we do see a little bit of a spring uptick that kind of is a natural occurrence, but I can go back and look at that data and share that back to compare year to year. Our chart just compares month to month within the current year. I'm waiting to hear back. The end of the year was a little chaotic with the graduation and all of our senior events and stuff like that. So I'll follow up because we were questioning about like what the incidents that didn't result in removing students from the educational environment, what were those around? So we just need to, I'm waiting for that information to share that back.
Yeah, and typically that means they're really low level. I mean, one ISS and one OSS with those number of incidents at the high school is telling, I think, around kind of the severity of the discipline incidents.
Suggestion being that it was a lot of kids, but it wasn't like serious. Is that the implication? Okay. Could we kind of follow up on that? It is a lot of kids. Thanks.
Yes, 39 total students and 69 total incidents. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to finance and facilities.
Finance and facilities.
Make it exciting, come on.
This is I will make this exciting by saying that I will do this way quicker than all the doctors did theirs. Finance and facilities met on June 9th. Everyone was in attendance as far as I recall. We went over the transfer and treasurer reports. We went over the approval of breakfast and lunch meal prices, which will be staying the same in the next school year. We discussed property casualty insurance renewals. We discussed the approval of maintenance, emergency, and capital reserve transfers. We're trying to beef up that fund. Obviously, we have a lot of maintenance needs in the district. We have century-old buildings. They need repairs. We approved a report of awarded contracts pursuant to Public Law 2015, Chapter 47. We discussed professional service contracts for educational services, including nursing, OT, PT, and evaluations. We approved out-of-district tuition contracts, or we discussed potential out-of-district tuition contracts. You'll see these things on the agenda here. In terms of facilities, Denise DeRosa and John Flanagan walked us through the anticipated approval of a change order for renovations in the pre-K classroom involving a doors. Did those make it onto the agenda tonight?
Not the door, but.
Not the door. Okay. We still have some time, hopefully in July, to get this one done. Oh, no. No doors at Irving. I'm sorry. We heard about the open door policy. We're going with a radical open door policy, I guess. We discussed a number of policies that we are updating. I will go through them. These are not major updates to these policies. These are just updates that reflect changes in the state statutes, regulations, or federal regulations to which the policies respond. The policies are for notice of board meetings, for legal notices. There's a codification of the superintendent's duties. There's the family leave policy. There's a policy on non-resident students and school choice. There's a policy about the reimbursement of federal and other grant expenditures, policy for federal awards, funds for internal controls and mandatory disclosures, policy for contracts for goods or services funded by federal grants, procurement procedures for school nutrition programs, non-resident students, school choice district, and federal awards, funds, internal controls, allowability of costs. You'll excuse me if I don't remember the contents of most of those. The one of these policies with significant changes is the family leave policy, which updates our family leave policy in accordance with the major changes that the legislature made to New Jersey's family leave statute. That's the third round of significant changes to that program, all very beneficial. In this case, the ones that apply here are a significant reduction in the number of hours an employee has to have worked in order to qualify for the benefits. Yes, so that's about right. So that'll be a benefit to the teachers. And that's not, if you're interested in that, that is also of broader applicability to anybody working in the state. So if you're curious about what your family leave benefits are, look into it. They're actually fairly generous here. We have one of the better programs in the country. Other information items, we discussed a bid for athletics transportation. We discussed the distressing numbers on the negative student lunch balances. And then we had an update from Denise and John about facilities projects. We saw some photos of the completed baseball field. We saw the impressive progress on the Bartle structural repair. I'm happy to report that the Bartle toilet renovation is complete and it's open for use. I know 2 students that are very, very excited about that acontecimiento. I'm blanking on the word. It's been a long week at the Maldonado Gordic House. You'll have to excuse me. It's been a long week. And then we discussed the pre-K classroom renovation bid construction update, as alluded to before. There are some HVAC needs. We discussed the HPEF environmental sustainability project, and there was an update on a leak in a geothermal field at Irving. I was unaware that we had a geothermal field at Irving. That is alarming. There is an investigation that I believe begins tomorrow. That, I believe, is the sum and substance of the discussion of the Facilities and Finance Committee on June 9th.
Thank you, Mary.
I will open it up for questions. Again, I ask for mercy on that front.
You're saying there's a volcano at Irving?
Yes, yes, we should harness the power of the Earth's core.
We also have to go over the list of agenda items, if you want to summarize those for finance facilities for us.
Yes.
And then we'll go back and do curriculum.
These many items on the agenda.
Many items, yes.
That's okay.
You can summarize.
Okay. We'll approve the bill list. We will approve an additional bills list. We're into that apparently. We will approve some travel and related expense reimbursements report. We will approve the treasurer's report, the board secretary's report, the Board of Education certifications. We will approve budget transfers. We will approve the transfer of unexpended appropriations and/or excess revenue to reserve. Get excited, my people. We will approve the Chapter 47 report of awarded contracts pursuant to Public Law 2015, Chapter 47. We will approve the breakfast and lunch prices for the 26-27 school year, which again are staying at the level that they are now. We will approve contracted service providers and related services for the coming school year. We will also consider the approval of contract service providers and related services for Educational Services Department in the coming school year. We will approve some contractors for professional development, excuse me. We will approve an out-of-district placement for the 25-26 school year. We will approve out-of-district placements for the 26-27 school year. We will approve bedside instruction and renewals of our insurance policies for the coming school year. And we will approve McKinley-Vento students to attend Edison Board of Education for the 25-26 school year. We will also consider the approval of acceptance of funding of Optimal Comprehensive Universal Screeners Focused Discretionary Grant, approval of purchase of custodial supplies for the coming school year, approval of a 60-month copier lease purchase agreement at Bartle, an approval of acceptance of local recreation improvement 2026 grant for things at the gym, approval of change order for the Bartle, change order PCO number 20 on the Bartle structural repairs bid, additional change orders, CRO number 1 and CRO number 2. These are pertaining to the cafeteria alterations for the pre-K classroom, and we will consider and accept the donation from Hungry Minds that was mentioned earlier as the great work that Vice Principal Baldazone from Bartle was able to secure.
Can you also do the read-in item, please?
You have one more reading.
The read-in item?
Oh, the read-in item, yes, of course.
Yeah.
How could I forget the read-in item? Number 26, we will also consider the revised approval of the direct install program with PSENG. Do I make the motion now or do we? No, okay. You will let me know.
Okay, then we're gonna go back and Sarah's gonna do the curriculum items.
Sorry, I missed them.
It's okay.
And I'm not going to be as exciting over here. So we will be approving of field trip requests, which is exciting, right? Very exciting in itself. Approval of HIB reports, approval of the nursing plan for the 25-26 school year, approval of summer freshman orientation for the high school, approval of evaluation instruments for 2026-27 school year, approval of 26-27 safe opening and continuity of service plan, approval of university graduate students for teaching, internships, junior practicum observation, approval of home instruction students, approval of a new math adoption. Woo! That is exciting, folks. Approval of professional development, approval of Highland Park Education Association virtual professional developments, and approval of the NJEA virtual professional developments.
Giddy with excitement for everything that you just mentioned.
Next time I'll say it with more of a pizzazz, like, you know, I have to practice that.
Okay, you're gonna be tough acts to follow when our regular chairs are back online
Go
here.
get it.
See that you do, Doctor.
All right, I'm going to summarize the personnel agenda, and I guess policy too. So under personnel, we're going to be voting on Mr. Rosa's contract to approve her employment for another year. Yes, yay. We have some leaves of absence that are on here. We have the resignation of an hourly maintenance worker. And then we have a number of appointments. And one being that we welcome back Aislinn Sadowski as our math interventionist at Bartle. She's going back to Highland Park. We're happy to hear that. We will have a new school social worker, or that's what we're voting on. Michael Statler, a new second grade teacher at Bartle, Anna Roberts. We are voting on hiring Eddie Hernandez as our general maintenance worker for facilities, and then a variety of other people that are already in the district and doing additional work that is on here on the agenda. A lot of pages, so I'm not going to summarize. A lot of summer work and, you know, so forth that is on here. And then we switched and changing classrooms and cleaning closets. We have a lot of people working hard over the summer. Keep us going here. And the translators, we got a lot of translators here. Oh my God. 5 pages of translators, just in case. Oh my God.
Keep going. Keep going.
Okay, our longest list is translators, but we will be prepared for any language that we need in our meetings, which is very important. It has been a long week, even this Monday. Okay, we have some people volunteering for football and soccer and basketball and cross country, more classroom moves and office moves, some curriculum writing in ESL and in math pre-algebra, world language, ELA, music, some more math, also some curriculum writing being done over the summer, science, astronomy, extending brothers mentoring till the end of the school year. Then we have transfers of teachers moving between grades to meet the needs of students throughout. Most of this is Irving and Irving. They're mostly Irving changes and some Bartle changes. We have reappointment of all of our paraprofessionals that are listed on here. Approval of staff for summer child study team meetings. Teachers and child study team to attend meetings, home instruction staff. We do a blanket approval for home instruction staff of all of our staff so that people will be available. We can hire them if they are willing to take on some home instruction. They've already been board approved. Same thing for travel of our educational services staff. We approve that in advance so they can get where they need to go to continue their work. Summer school for our extended school year, the staff for extended school year is on here. Job coach for the school for the summer, toileting stipends for the summer, ESL screenings for our staff to be able to do that. And then we have all of our Schedule B positions that are on here from Irving to Bartle for after school clubs. Coordinating our camp overnights, yoga, lots of different things here. Middle school, our music directors, newspapers, student congress. Really appreciate all of our staff willing to take on these jobs to extend the learning for our students. At high school, everything from yearbook to student congress to all of our theater programs, everything is on here. DECA advisors, robotics, chess club, lots of all of our different clubs and the advisors who have agreed to take them on for next school year. Our green team coordinator, lead counselor. In middle school, we have coaching positions where we have people who have agreed to take them. They're on here for our approval, and that as well as in high school. in all of our different sports, head coaches and assistant coaches and weight room, for all of our sports throughout the school year for next year, including cheerleading here at the end. And the last one under personnel is staff training. We have a group of teachers who are willing to come in as after school got out to begin training for clear math. We very much appreciate them volunteering their time to get started on our new math program. So that is personnel. Any questions on that? Although we discussed it before, but no, be good on personnel. The last agenda that I'm doing is policies, and our other chairs did a lovely job on all these policies. So we have a number. We have three for abolishment and a whole group for first read, but we've really gone over them all because they went through committee, so I'm not going to repeat them. And then we go back to public comment. What do we do next? Okay. And so before we do board action items, we have one more round of public comment, and the same thing. We welcome your public participation, and this is your time for your comments. There's no one in the room, I think, that wants to speak. So anybody online that would like to speak? Angela, if you're online, raise your hand if you'd like to speak. No? Okay, seeing none, we are going to go to board action items and vote on all this agenda that we listed. So Sarah, if you want to move curriculum and instruction.
Yes, I move items 1 through, I believe it's 12.
Second.
Second.
Dr. Coleman,
Yeah, yes.
Mr. Maldonado,
Yes.
Dr. Pixley,
Yes, but abstain from 9.
Ms. Prus,
Yes.
Dr. Schoolman,
Yes.
Ms. Stanio.
Yes.
And finance and facilities. Can you entertain us and amuse us? But bring up your agenda items.
Yes, I move the adoption of items 1 through 25 on the finance and facilities portion of the agenda. Can I get a second?
Plus the read-in.
Oh, plus the read-in. Shall I now read the read-in?
You can.
I think I have to. This is for this would be item number 26. So I amend my motion to move all of items 1 through 26. This is for the revised approval of the direct install program with PSE&G. I think we have some feedback. I'm sorry. That is the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the installation and repayment agreement with PSE&G for the direct install program for the replacement of 2 boilers at Bartle Elementary School. At a cost of $437,000 minus an incentive in the amount of 57%, which gives us a total of just over $250,000, the district share of which is $186,000, which will be repaid to PSE&G over a 5-year period at 0% interest, funded by withdrawals from the capital reserve account.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Second.
Dr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Maldonado,
Yes.
Dr. Pixley,
Yes.
Ms. Prus,
Yes.
Dr. Schoolman,
Yes.
Ms. Stanio.
Yes, but abstain from 15.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Done?
Less people.
Personnel, that's me. I move 1 through 16 under personnel.
Second.
Dr. Coleman,
Yes. Oh, sorry. I wasn't expecting my name there.
Mr. Maldonado,
Yes.
Dr. Pixley,
Yes.
Ms. Prus,
Yes.
Dr. Schoolman,
Yes, and I just want to say I appreciate all the comments by community members tonight and over email. I think everyone here took them seriously. I do vote yes.
Ms. Stanio.
Yes.
Okay, and policy, I move 1 and 2, and 2 is A through Q.
Second.
Dr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Maldonado,
Yes.
Dr. Pixley,
Yes.
Miss Prus,
Yes.
Dr. Schoolman,
Yes.
Miss Stanio.
Yes.
Go from here. So that concludes our board action items. Any board liaison reports? Anybody need to want to share?
Yeah, so the Human Relations Commission, tomorrow is the Pride flag raising. That's June 23rd. It starts at 5 o'clock and it's at the Highland Park Community Center. There will be light refreshments and speakers and a great opportunity to support your neighbors.
Great, thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, Monique here. The Board of Health met on June 11th, and they are winding down for the year. They do not meet in the summer. A discussion item that came up around the school district, it was around the interest on the part of some members of the Board of Health in having or supporting the district in possible suicide prevention programming in the fall. So again, whatever that could possibly look like, they're certainly interested in speaking with administration to see what the possibilities are. There's a high interest on the Board of Health with just supporting the district in our mental health awareness and engagement in the community and certainly with the student body. So they extended an offer to even meet in the summer if there's an interest there from leadership around brainstorming some ideas to support a mental health program in the district. And I think, let's see, I think that's about it I wanted to share out from that meeting. Of course, the Board of Health is doing a lot of great work around just again supporting initiatives in the town around unsafe driving, for example, not stopping at stop signs, driving too fast, and supporting the district in creating more safe passage in the town. Also, they discussed the new e-bike law that's going to effect in New Jersey in July that will require all e-bike riders to be at least 15 years old, to wear a helmet, and possess a valid driver's license, e-bike license or permit. So, a lot of support for this particular e-bike law, but just the implementation and question marks around that. Of course, all e-bikes are also going to be required to be registered with the Department of Motor Vehicles. Motorized bicycles, such as mopeds, will also require insurance. So that was a discussion there. And that's it on the Board of Health.
Thank you. Yeah, suicide prevention, we can work with that with Board of Health is a great idea.
Yeah, yeah. Oops.
There, nothing, you're ready to go. Okay. Anybody else or that covers it? No, I am not the president, but thank goodness. Thank you, Ann. But I did want to, since I got the mic, I did want to congratulate on the part of the board, all of the retirees and all of our honorees tonight. It is my favorite meeting of the year. I love hearing all the wonderful things that our staff does, specifically detailed and outlined. I think it's really awesome. And at the end of the school year, just like it was said to our retirees, we want to thank all of our teachers and our staff, administrators, for all their dedication for this year. Wish everybody a restful summer. Come back rejuvenated to do it all over again. But thank you. And I think we should thank the board also. It's been a year. Like every other year. It's been challenging, and I personally think that we work well together. And I think that we ask questions, we discuss a lot, and we made some hard decisions here that we believe were in the best interest of students. So I appreciate all of that. Any old business? No, or new business? Then I get to move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.